Finally, the last way that monopolists can raise their own prices is to practice third-degree price discrimination, charging different prices to different groups of consumers with varying elasticities of demand. And this is the price discrimination that you and I are going to face most often in our own everyday lives. So here, third-degree price discrimination. And there's a lot of examples that we can talk about under this price discrimination. So third-degree price discrimination. Discrimination. And once again, this is charging people different prices based on their elasticities of demand. So we can actually separate groups of people based on whether they are price sensitive or price insensitive. Remember what we talked about elasticity in chapter number 5. So charging different groups of people, charging different groups of customers, different prices based on their elasticities of demand. Based on varying elasticities of demand. So now we can actually go ahead and segregate people into two different groups, and we want to charge these two different groups two different prices. So let's go ahead and go with the main example, something that we talked about previously in chapter number 5 with airline travel. Suppose that we're focusing in on people that are traveling for vacation versus people traveling for business. So airline fares or airline tickets. Let's go ahead and take a look at this example. So airline tickets for people on vacation. And what do we say about people on vacation? Are they more price sensitive or less price sensitive to a change in prices? Remember, because they have more time to decide on where they want to go, the more time you have to decide, the higher your elasticity of demand is going to be. So people that are on vacation, they typically have higher elasticities of demand. And if you have a higher elasticity of demand, that tells you that you are more price sensitive. So more price sensitive. And if you are more price sensitive, what do you think we should do in this scenario? Do you think we're going to be charging them a very high price, or should the firm be charging them a very low price? So airline tickets for people on vacation who have higher elasticities of demand or are more price sensitive, intuitively, they should be charging people that have a higher elasticity or they are seen as more elastic, a lower price because they are more price sensitive. So that's something that we're going to be seeing when we compare that to business travelers. So airline tickets for people on vacation versus people traveling for business. So versus people traveling for business. And remember, business travelers, they are very, very inelastic. They are very price insensitive because they have to have this flight. They have to have a ticket. They need to go to their meeting, wherever it may be. So they're going to be willing to pay a relatively higher price compared to those traveling for vacation. So here, people traveling for business, they typically have a lower elasticity of demand. Lower elasticities of demand, or they are more price insensitive. So we'll put price insensitive, more price insensitive. And like we said, this is going to lead to a lot of firm strategy about what price to charge each of these groups of people. The firm should be charging people that are very sensitive to prices, very low prices, while people that are very price insensitive should be getting charged a higher price. Remember that the more price inelastic or the more that inelastic your demand is going to be, your quantity demanded isn't going to change all too much. So this is going to be what firms do in this scenario. So firms should charge the business travelers, a higher price, and the vacationers a lower price, and a lower price for vacationers. So essentially, those that have a very inelastic demand or they are more price insensitive, they should be getting charged a higher price because they won't really care about the price increasing too much. And those that are more price sensitive, they have a very, very high elasticity to demand, you should be getting charged a lower price because a very small increase in price is essentially going to cause them to change their quantity demanded. And like we said, there are a lot of other good examples of third degree price discrimination that we can go ahead and take a look at. We noticed that, hey, what about ticket prices for children? Ticket prices for children. So if we go to the fair, if we go to the amusement park, you notice that adult prices are going to be different compared to children prices. So here, once again, we're segregating people based on their age. We also have, say, early bird specials. Early bird specials. So why do a lot of restaurants offer early bird specials? Who's more likely to take advantage of early bird specials? It's senior citizens and elderly people. And there's a very good reason why they do that. If you've ever worked in a restaurant, you'll notice that the senior citizens, they take forever to eat their sort of meal. They're also some of the worst tippers out there. So what the restaurants want to do, they just want to get them in before everybody else. Make sure that they get some type of, they come in during the slow time, and then when the rush time for dinner actually does come, the senior citizens aren't actually slowing down the kitchen, and the servers don't have to worry about with all their demands and their low tipping. So here, once again, we see grouping people based on their age. We also have ladies' night. Ladies' night, especially here in Miami. So ladies' night. So what exactly happens during ladies' night? Why do a lot of bars and nightclubs here in Miami give free drinks for women? Because they get a lot of women and also a lot of men into their bar. Why don't they offer a guy's night or a dude's night? Because all you get is a lot of guys into the bar, and that's probably not what a lot of people want in this sort of scenario. So here, we're grouping people, we're sort of separating people based on their gender in this instance. And then, if you ever go to like a sports team or a sports event, they typically have special events. One of the things that the Marlins do every single year is something called Bark at the Park. Bark at the Park. So essentially here, if you bring your dog to the ball game, you actually get a discounted ticket. So we're sort of segregating people based on those that have dogs and those that do not have dogs. And that's actually one of the best times to go watch a baseball game because you get to see all the very, very nice dogs running around the park. So as we can see right here, third degree price discrimination, a lot of different examples that we can think about in application and exactly what businesses should be doing when we're grouping people based just on their elasticities. Should we be charging a higher price or a lower price? And as we did before, we can go ahead and see that the profits are going to be larger if the firm can go ahead and charge these groups of people different prices. So take a look at these two charts right here. We have panel A and panel B. And panel A, this is going to be the demand for the more inelastic customers because we have a very steep demand curve. In panel B, this is going to be the demand curve for the more elastic consumers because we have a very flat demand curve. As we noted before, if the consumer has an inelastic demand, we should be charging them a relatively high price, and that's what we do. Following the 5-step pattern for maximizing profits. So here, they're going to be offering them Q1 units of output and charge them a high price of P1. And the profits that are going to emerge is this rectangle or this square right here. So profits by charging the inelastic consumers a very high price. But we also have to add in the price that they're going to be charging for the elastic consumers. Following the 5-step pattern for maximizing profits, they're going to get to charge a relatively low price of P0. So notice that P0 is less than P1 in this instance. So we're following along with what firm strategy should be. Charging the inelastic customers a high price, charging the elastic or more price-sensitive consumers a lower price. And the profits that emerge from that are going to be this longer, sort of slender rectangle that we have right here. Adding these two areas is going to give us the profit for the firm practicing third-degree price discrimination, and that, of course, is still going to be larger than if the firm had to charge everyone the same exact price. So 3 degrees of price discrimination, first degree, second degree, and third degree price discrimination, and you know exactly what the demand and supply analysis of each of these discrimination techniques is going to be.